Hello, I'm Katie from HB Publishing House, and I'm here today with the fantastic author Dale Neal and the most amazing illustrator Mark Goodson, also known as Mill. Maybe that's your weekend name, your week name, not sure what we're saying. Oh, your all-day name. Your everyday name.
Yeah, my everyday name, that is.
Your everyday name, your everyday. Yeah. What I'd like to know is, how did you two meet?
Dale, how did we meet? Who are you?
We go way back, and I am a part-time hairdresser, and way back in the old, way back in the 90s, when Mark was still living in the UK, he directed a film called Fizzy Days, and through a mutual friend of ours, Steve, I got the job of styling the hair for this film. And then Mark and I have worked together on a few things since then, and yeah, that's how we met on the set of Fizzy Days, where Mark was expert.
Yeah, we needed a shopkeeper as well, and Dale stood in as the shopkeeper, the motorcycle shopkeeper, didn't you? That's right.
I was the shopkeeper.
Yeah,
I still remember my line. Are you old enough to ride this bike, son?
Are you old enough to ride a bike, son?
That's right. You're right. That's right. Yeah, and then you had to give chase in your high heel boots after wearing a shopkeeper and made off with the helmet.
I had lived a line. I said, "Come back! You're going to scuff my helmet."
Can we see this? Where can we find this film?
Well, if you Google it, it's Fizzy Days. Yeah, Google Fizzy Days. Enough comes up. Yes. Everybody
Google Fizzy Days and find out Dale's, awesome moment in the spot.
Yeah, I think there's a trailer where he's quite featured, but it's somewhere on YouTube. It'll
happening. It's happening. Definitely happening. So, as people will know, you have a new book coming out. Well, it'll already be out by the time we air the podcast. And it is called The Dinosaur and Me. So, what I would like to know is, how did you come about writing this story, Dale?
Do you know what? Sometimes when I've written a story, in the future, every time I write a story, I'm going to make a note of how I got the idea, because the amount of times I've written something and then I forget how the heck I got the idea to write it in the first place.
Well, as long as you say light on the toilet or something, like an Elvis style.
Probably, yeah. I think at the time I had some friends whose children were I wouldn't say being bullied, but maybe having a difficult time at school. And there was a little boy, and it wasn't fitting in too well, and he used to escape into encyclopedias and things about dinosaurs, and it just kind of struck a chord. I'd like to say I based it on my own childhood, but I was very lucky. I had a very nice childhood. Yeah, some of the observations. I was always the last one in the team to be picked, so that's true. And yeah, it was based on some, as usual. It was based on a real life observation.
And how did you? I won't say wrote, but how did you come to illustrate the pictures for this, Mel?
Right, it was a simple case, really. Dale sends me his poems, and that one struck a chord. And I think I did it pretty quickly, actually, because it was like, oh, we need to look. This is what this could look like. So I think it wasn't much more than a weekend. It was like, what do you remember that, Dale? Because I remember spending. I'd got the time that weekend, and it was just like, I'll just, just do it. And then we just had to be a couple, But it's sort of illustrated itself, because the imagery is there, and then you've got this mischievous dinosaur. Yeah, it was easy because of the words, not because I bring any charm, but I thought it just stands up on its own, so very not hard to do.
So sometimes when we do something together, Mark, we'll I'll write something and I'll send it to Mark, and Mark will do some fantastic illustrations as always, as he always does. But with that one, as there's been a few, I know King Prawn was another one. Excuse me. where Mark you kind of really related to that one, and it just seemed to, yeah, we had it done in no time, didn't we?
Yeah. Let's say some of the words just stand up on their own, and the the illustrations are a little embellishment.
The illustration of this dinosaur at the cinema is fantastic.
I know, the Jurassic. But would you say that's one of your favourite pictures?
Yes.
Yeah. What's your favourite picture in the book, Neil?
I kind of like the idea of him wandering around in the snow with his mittens on and his boblat, because as dinosaurs might do if they were cold.
Yeah.
That sort of thing, yeah. And I like where he's dancing at the back. I've got that staccato sort of, as he would, oblivious. Yeah, dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
I have to say, mine's probably the poop. It's always about the poop. Whenever there's about bottoms and poo, it always gets me and the kids. Honestly, we have a very toilet humour. It's toilet humour. It always gets
me. Well, we're British, aren't we?
The expression on that little girl's face.
Yeah. I would think. I think you did that. We didn't even know each other yet, but I think that picture is me.
Could be you.
I've got a great So, how did you become an illustrator, Mill? What is it that attracted you to be an illustrator?
The inability to do anything else really with any ease, I guess. Like most kids at school, you sort of chose a path between trying to make other people laugh or drawing, and I sort of drawing was what I could do. It wasn't going to be a mathematician for sure. So like a lot of people who go down the art basis, go down, you're creative, or you draw pictures, and then of course you go to college, you do your foundation course, you and think, I can get a degree. A degree is great. You can go to college, or you could then. I don't know what it's like now. Years ago, a lot of years have passed since my coming out of school, thinking, I can draw. I jotted down to London, got a job in a studio, an art studio, where they drew commercials, the storyboards for commercials, and got on as a junior. And then I've spent most of all my adult life really, apart from a sort of drawing pictures, drawing as a commercial artist. And which segued into because I worked in Los Angeles, segued into Zoom movies, and then and all that comes with that. You try and write a few scripts, you try and write a few books, you try and draw a few books, you just carry on creating, and now that's pretty much. I think I'm trying to concentrate a little more on trying to do stuff between pages, whether it's writing or drawing, but just the same sort of. I'm sure lots of people have got the same story as I've got.
But I've got two questions. What is the best commercial you've ever storyboarded for, and also because obviously you've worked in films as well, so what would you say would be your favorite film? So two questions there, I guess.
I enjoyed doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I can't believe that, and I just want you to know I've never watched it, because any kind of horror makes me poop my pants, and that is my toilet humor.
And it's a pretty sicko idea, but I liked doing the commercials with the director. And he, once you get on with somebody, it's the same as, how any of these people work. You get on with the team, camera, crew, actors, and they crop up. And that's how generally it works in Hollywood. You get on well with a commercial director, they will get on a decent, they'll get on a project, and you'll truck along with them. I didn't mind working. I like the kind of prestige of working on the Hulk. And with the Marvel stuff. The job actually itself wasn't so great, but it's just that sort of Hollywood world, as a for yeah. I mean, and how it is so different, and the people are so different, and you get to explore a lot of stuff, But it's somewhat perceived as exciting, and it is actually. You draw all day, and you get You get to meet
Put
people
it
that,
down. It sounds
yeah,
amazing.
you get to meet people that you see on the telly, you know, or on the big screen. Yeah, yeah.
I love it. Dale, for you, so how did you get into being an author, being a writer, being a poet master? I nearly came out as puppet master, but poet master. But puppet master all the same, I guess.
I'm not a puppet master. I'd be more like the puppet than the controller, me. Excuse me, sorry. Well, I've always enjoyed writing at school. I wasn't particularly. I was one of those middle of the road at everything. I wasn't particularly bad at maths, so I was particularly good. Everything just kind of right down the middle. But I always enjoyed writing stories, and I always seemed to get good marks and grades for that. And there's just something I used to send silly poems to people by text, and people think what a strange person I was. And then I stopped writing for ages. And then my wife, actually, she's a really good poet, and she's often, she especially at the time, was often asked to write poems if somebody's birthday or a wedding or anything like that. They'd often come to Marie and say, "Can you write a poem for this?" And she used to nail it every time. Really funny, brilliant observations, and it kind of motivated. I thought, yeah, I used to do that, and so then I started writing again, and that was it. I just started writing poems and stories and as a hobby. You know, I joined an online writing group, and I got good feedback. And a friend of mine, Carol, who has a column in the Times, she saw them and said, "You should send these off to a publisher," which I did. And then, as you know, Katie, and in the world of publishing, especially at that time, 6 months later, I got a reply saying, "Yeah, these are all right. Can you send us some more? We'll get back to you in another 6 months." And anyway,
for us, we try to be very good and do it within a couple of months maximum. So
a different world working with you guys. It's fantastic, I have to say.
Thanks.
Yeah, and that was it's true, definitely. And at the time, it certainly helped that I'd had an operation for hernia repair, and so I was in bed for a few days. Kind of took that opportunity to say, that's when I sent off some submissions, and that's kind of how it all started, really. And then I'd re-established contact with Mark, and I didn't realise in the time I'd last spoke with Mark that he'd moved to Hollywood and become an incredibly successful movie man, you know, working for Marvel Studios and Disney. And so I thought, right.
It's not going to be one my friend anymore.
And,
Dinosaur story. It's about you, Bill.
And the good thing about Mark is that he has the dare I say, I don't want to get into any trouble. He has that American work ethic, I think, because he was living and working in Hollywood at the time, and I'd worked with people in the past, and I'd say, "What do you think of this?" Say, "Yeah, I'll draw something for that," and maybe a month or so later, I'd see something. But with Mark, it just
does it in a weekend, literally.
Yeah, and absolutely fantastic. I mean, some of the details that Mark brings to the books in his drawings are inspired.
Amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
It makes me love dinosaurs even more, and we're big fans of dinosaurs in this house. And when we've sent it off for the book tour, we've had such a huge response of just, "Oh, it's a dinosaur," but we love dinosaur books, and the amount of people where we're yeah, that's it. We love it. We love it. And who exactly? So this is it. So you've I can't even speak now, written the perfect dinosaur story and illustrated it together to come up with the Dinosaur and Me, which is fantastic. So
thank you.
Yeah, I can't wait. Even though when this podcast comes out, it will already be out, and I'm just so excited just to, as I keep saying, I'm going to throw it at so many people like, the book is amazing.
Thank you.
I was just saying, the audiobook is fantastic.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Amazing.
And I'm so glad you both like it. I haven't even finished it yet. You know, that was just like, it needs a few little tinkers with it, but honestly, some of the sounds on it just made me giggle all the way through.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And that's what you want.
Fantastic.
You want someone to be listening to the audiobook in the car and just laughing their heads off, don't you? And that's what you want.
Yeah. When I first wrote the Dinosaur and Me, actually, it was a 5. It went on and on and on. It was a 5-story series. I think the first one was the boy meeting the dinosaur, and then the second one was the boy taking the dinosaur to his mum and dad's house in a disguise so they wouldn't notice. The third one, I think he grinned at the school bullies, and I think his body made a sound that sounded like, as the T-Rex grinned, his body made a sound that sounded like trapped wind or something like that. And yeah, we've kind of encapsulated it down into one.
But you've got all the best parts of it, so
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's like it sort of touches on not having the friend, about even though the boy doesn't have many friends, he's still got that compassion to make friends with Dinosaur, and then they become best friends and go on adventures together. And who doesn't want that when your best friend's a dinosaur? You know, gonna go on these best adventures together.
Yeah, I can't wait for people to read it.
I know, I can't. I'm really excited. It's going to be amazing. One of my other questions is, who do you think would enjoy the book? So if you were saying to somebody, you would enjoy this book, what would it be? I'd like both of you to have a go at answering this question to see, you know, I bet you both have different opinions about the book.
Beekeepers, I'd say. Beekeepers and I don't know. Children who like to have a smile.
Yeah.
All kids are interested in dinosaurs and poo, so we've got that audience wrapped up.
Here we are.
And hopefully Dale's words will put that on it.
I think I like to think that some of the humour, obviously, it's of course aimed at children, of course, and I know that children love dinosaurs and poo, of course. And that's obviously it didn't go in by accident, put it that way. But all the observations, I think hopefully there's some humour in there that will appeal to adults too if they're reading the story to the children. Hopefully.
Yes. Parents reading to their children and children listening to their parents reading to them.
And then
I know I've read some stories to my daughter, and some are great, but some are just dull as dishwater. And I think, what? How did this? No, I won't be too critical. I'm sure they've got their own charms, but some are more fun to read than others. And I like to think that this might. Oh, hang on, Dora wants to go in the other room. There you go, Dora. I like to think that it might appeal to children, young and old, kind of phrase.
Yeah, young, old, in between, all of them.
Yes, in between.
Young children and old children.
Thank you very much for coming to chat with me today. The amazing Dale Neal and Mark Millicent, who are the author and illustrator of The Dinosaur and Me, which is out now. So please do go and buy it. You can have a look at hbpublishinghouse.co.uk, or it is out on Amazon, ready for your dinosaur glory with the poo. I can't even speak. The poo. I'll get there in the end. So please do go and buy it and enjoy that. So thank you both for your wonderful conversations today.
Thank you very much.